talking. I am only 5 minutes over what I told them I would be. So here we go. Everybody, put your hands together for today's guest. Oh my God, that is incredibly loud. Why is that like raging loud? We had rehearsal last night, so everything is just off. So, oh my gosh, SoCal Flip. Oh my gosh, you're doing me in. And there they are, everybody. Not to be overshadowed by the. Okay, hold on, get that out here. Not to be overshadowed by the gift subs, but thank you so much for all those gift subs. That's very kind of you. I sincerely appreciate that. Get some air horns and how about this? How about this? Out in the street, they call no, hold on. I almost. Are you guys there?
We're here. We're chilling. You got it.
You guys are just letting me ramble on. That's
correct. It's your show. We're just guests. We're just here.
Oh my God, you guys are too kind. Oh my God, SoCal Flip, you are killing it today with all these subs. I appreciate it. What's up, everybody on Instagram? Hi. I'm gonna actually stop being live on Instagram because come hang out. Every podcast. What's up? Love you. Come through. I'm out. I'm ending the stream on my Instagram. Don't discard it. Oh, come on. Well, now you guys get to see me struggle with posting something to Instagram, which is insane. Oh my God. I hate it. I'm not doing that right now. Okay. So thank you, ladies, so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
You two are. So I know I was gushing a little bit before the show here, and I was, you guys are so cool. But thank you for that follow. And you know what, guys, I'm gonna actually turn off the notification sounds. You'll still be able to see the notifications, but we just so we can kind of go uninterrupted here and have a nice little chat with our friends here. So. Again, thank you so much for being here. I love your Gretsch, by the way. That's amazing. What reverb do you use? I love your reverb. It's just
oh my gosh, so much. I'm on the Big Sky. This giant Big Sky channel. Yeah, it just changes everything.
That thing is incredible. Like
it is.
Like especially for your vibe, it definitely is something that sort of encapsulates. Like, because when I hear it, it's like what's up, Jay Bartholomew? Thank you for being here. When I hear you guys. When I hear you two working together, it's the harmonies and it's that reverb that really sticks out to me. And I was just like, I got to know what she's using because I'm actually in the market for reverb because my music partner doesn't give me enough reverb, and so I'm gonna take it in to my own hands. Yeah, I'm coming for you, Reina. I'm coming for you.
Not Reina, this perfect queen. What? She is perfect.
What? She is perfect, and she is right in perpetuity. It has been established that she is never wrong, and I am always right or wrong. I am the one who is wrong in perpetuity, whereas she is right in perpetuity.
What a contract! I know.
You know what? When she found me, I was some dusty turd she found on the sidewalk. She was like, "Hey, I think there's something in here. I think there's a little."
One condition: you sign your life away, and you're always wrong. Okay, thank you.
But one condition.
What a boss! I love it.
Well, yeah. I mean, she definitely has my nads in her purse, and that's okay. I'm okay with that because if I'm left to my own devices, I tend to veer off the road. So I'm okay with having. It's fun because it's like it's my only boss in life is my wife, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Everything else, I get to call my own shots. I just have to run it by the boss. That's all right.
Great.
Who ruled the world? Okay.
No lie.
No. Hey, I'm with it. I definitely think that females have a perspective that men just I don't think that we can even wrap our heads around it. Like I don't even think we can. I mean, we just there's just like a sensitivity to life and like a grace that women possess that men are just like, here I am, and I mean,
you referred to yourself as a dusty turd, so. So,
thank you guys. Thank you for contributing to the Salad Galley points, everyone. I appreciate that. We're going to do an IRL stream at the Salad Galley, and I might, you never know, Ultimate WSEG might make an appearance. So just keep your fingers crossed. We're hoping for the best here. So where do you even start? What came first? I'm just curious. What came first? Was it music? Was it filmmaking? Was it singing? What was the first thing that sort of fell into your lap? Were you both and were like, oh, this is what I like. I'll do this now.
It was definitely film first, but what's funny is that music was right on the heels of that.
Mm.
So we started out with filmmaking, where I overheard Ashley talking at our restaurant that we worked at that she was going to make 13 short films in 2013, and we didn't really know each other at that time. We had had a couple of interactions before, but
Couple of interactions.
there were two of them, and they were brutal. But I overheard her talking about it, and so I decided to message her on Facebook and said, "Hey, I put me in one of your movies," and she's like, "Great, I'll send you a script when it's done." So we had our first short film. And then we realized that we really liked spending time with each other outside of that. And so we would drive to these places and go get food and things like that. And we just heard each other. And by that, I mean, we would blast the music really loud and we would both just sing. And then I heard her singing and I just turned the volume down in the middle of the song. And I was like, "You can sing." And so, eek. And then we kind of started saying, "Oh, well, you harmonize too." Because we both would sing growing up, but the people we would sing with never knew how to harmonize. They could only do the melody. So we thought that we just kind of started learning to sing other parts. And so when we met, we're like, "Oh my gosh, you know how to harmonize too? Oh, this is great. This is perfect."
Yeah.
And so it was right on the heels of starting film. And we didn't really think much of music. We kind of just wanted to do a couple of covers here and there and just sing together because we wanted to. It wasn't until 2016 when we were serving tables at another job trying to raise money for a feature film that we would get paid to play music. And then we're like, well, I guess we better learn a couple more songs. And so that's when music kind of really took off for us.
So music was sort of a device to fund your films. Is that
Absolutely.
Yes. And it still is.
That's
It still
amazing,
is.
actually. That is
Hasn't
incredible.
changed.
That's incredible. That's like a very big venture to go down or participate in to fund your film. But I guess it's better than like working at like a factory or an office job and end up like our poor friend Joel, which is just, oh my God, that bully one. I forgot what you guys called it.
Oh, Joel.
Old Joel.
Under pressure.
Under pressure.
Oh, bless him.
That was great. That was a great one. But
Thanks for watching it.
oh my God, I'm such a fan.
Thanks.
But like what? So you two were like, we'll just learn a bunch of songs so we can start funding films and stuff. And this is in Baltimore. This is when you were both in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, it paid really well. Courtney and I both made like a couple $100 to play for 4 hours,
Right.
and we got like all you can drink, and like we each got like a seafood platter, which was like lobster rolls or crab cakes. So I mean, we were getting food, we were getting drinks, and we were getting paid, and we got to keep our tips, and we were getting music out there.
Yes.
It was just like also another reason to just hang out with each other.
Yeah.
So like, why not? You know?
Why not? Let's just go for it. It's just funny to me. But I love that. I love that you were both were like, well, has either of you worked like a quote unquote like real job, like
Yes.
restaurant and stuff? No.
Outside of restaurants, I haven't. It's been all restaurants for me.
Just restaurants but playing music or actually as like a server or
As a server,
as a server.
I was a host as well. I've done, well, I mean, I guess if you want to do the quote unquote real job, I edited weddings for a company. So I guess
Okay.
that counts.
Yeah. I mean, but I guess I should rephrase that. A job outside of the arts. Have you done that? And yes, you have.
I have worked numerous real jobs, but they've all been in the arts. I was the film programmer
Right.
at a nonprofit
Right.
organization in Baltimore that was very focused on bringing arts movies and just general anything outside of the umbrella of like sports and normality to low income families. So we would go and we would seek out specifically individuals that were interested in doing film and music and art that just didn't have the opportunity. So that was my first like big girl job. And then I worked as a professional editor for a company that worked with a lot of government contracts. So I got to see how all of that happens and how little the people at the bottom get paid. And that made me very sad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those are those are sad moments.
It was sad.
Yeah. No, those are sad moments in life when you realize how much people do get sort of shit on in this world, especially the quote unquote little people. You guys, well, you both said that it was brutal when you first met. What do you mean by brutal? Like how was it brutal? Like did you not like each other at first, or?
No, we were okay. I feel like everything in the start of our friendship is my fault.
It's not your fault. So
this one is though. I think this one happened first, right?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
That I didn't even connect that. Oh, that was Courtney.
So my sister actually worked at this job and knew Ashley before I did. And so when I came into this job, there was one of her friends who was hosting with me was having a party for her birthday. And I had been dating somebody for 6 years at the time. Bless myself, not him. And so he got very angry, very, very angry. I couldn't even tell you why, but he stormed out of this house. And Ashley just so happened to be walking in as he was leaving and as I was chasing him out. Well, she was in my way. And I kind of just like shoved her against the wall and kept running after this drunken ex we didn't end up making it, thank God. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't even realize it was Ashley. It was just kind of like, I need to chase this man before he tries to drive is where I was coming at it from. And I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
She was in my way.
It's good to know how you react in those situations early on,
Yeah, because if you would try to drive, I would shove whoever out of the way as well. Yeah, and be like, this is my priority here. Yeah. So that was our first encounter, which was very not nice on my end.
The second encounter was I was a manager at the same restaurant and I ran the Saturday morning shift. And so at like 10:30, when my host hadn't showed up, I saw like a very quick glance. Courtney was supposed to be there. So I call her and I'm like, hey, it's Ashley from Ruby's. You're supposed to be here. And poor thing was just like, I don't think so, but I'll be there if you need me to be there. And I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry. But she was like, can you just please double check? And then I double checked and she wasn't supposed to be there. And I was like, I'm very sorry. I must fix this situation. Goodbye now.
I see. Oh, please finish.
No, I was 45 minutes away. So I was like, if you give me an hour, I have to go home and change, but I'll be there. I promise.
Now, I mean, like, you're indicating that you were sort of, do you feel like you're that same person who would respond in that same way now than you were then? Like, because of the way that you're making it sound is like, okay, it's almost like apologetic for something that she did. I don't know. What is that something? I mean,
I would still do that. Yes.
You still do that? Yeah.
Yes, I would. If a job called me and they were like, you're supposed to be here. Actually, it really depends on what we were doing.
Yeah.
But wait, let me think about that. No, if we are sitting here in 2021, which we are, Courtney, I think if someone called me because a host didn't show up, no, I would say no.
You just be like, I don't care. It's not my problem. I'm not supposed to work today.
Yeah, like I'm not supposed to work. Yes, but also our job that we were working here before we got let go, they were very understanding of our schedule. So they knew these were the days and these were the times that we worked. And they did not step outside of that. Wow. They knew better because we were working on film and stuff.
Yeah, we are for example, I'm supposed to be doing cinematography for a short film in May. And the producer just emailed like right before we went on and was like, hey, this weekend, let's go for a location scout. I was like, that's not how this works.
Right.
Like, we've got 100 plans happening right now. It's not that we don't want to, and it's not that we're rejecting you.
Right.
It's just that we physically can't because we've got so much else going on. And I think that would be similar to your restaurant situation.
Right.
Is the idea of saying no, has that ever been a problem for either of you? Just
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it has. There have been so many projects. And also, I feel like when you're getting started, especially on Twitch or in any entertainment industry, you feel like the minute you get any sort of opportunity to get yourself out there, you're going to do it because you have to. It's just, it's part of the hustle. And it was very much the same way with film when we got started. We were working a bunch of jobs that we didn't get paid for and projects that were, excuse me, a complete shit show. But I mean, not to say that ours were any better because we were all learning, but now that we have worked on and gotten enough credits under our belt and our quality of film looks a certain way, we can say, hey, that actually isn't the project for me. We can't carry this. We've been on a few where we were just brought on because the director was an actor and wanted to make a film and didn't know what they were doing. So they brought on a production team who did know what they were doing, but that meant that the actor director didn't know anything that they wanted. So it was incredibly frustrating for us as content creators to have to kind of push that along. And those are projects we can't really stand by and we can't give our time to.
Yeah, totally. No, I feel that so much. Especially, I mean, I'm coming from the world of music, but you're absolutely right. It's like you put in so much time over the years, you pay your dues, and at some point you're like, well, I don't have to do that. First of all, I don't want to do that, but I don't have to do that because I've already built this for myself here. Good luck, have fun. And then so you sort of have to fight that urge to not be nice, right? It's like that urge to be like, well, I mean, I guess I could go out there, or I guess I could go on a location scout. I guess it's not going to be that bad, but just thinking about that in LA, like location scouting in Los Angeles, just be a couple hours. It's like, no, this is a whole day. Okay. This is a whole day.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Traffic is garbage. Is traffic garbage again? Is that?
Oh my God, yeah.
Immediately.
As soon as possible.
It's horrific.
We're like, what happened?
Man, LA is so crazy right now. I'm seeing all these pictures of like the homeless and stuff. It's been really crazy. How has your experience been with Los Angeles over this last year in regards to how California has sort of handled, or even Los Angeles has handled the pandemic? And obviously there's a lot of homeless issues going on here, but how do you guys think that they handled it?
And I don't know about like California and Los Angeles as a whole because the whole town is very problematic.
Right.
But I will say, coming from the restaurant industry, our restaurant closed immediately.
Wow.
Like, we didn't even get to celebrate. We had these grandiose ideas what it was going to be like when we like had our last shift serving tables, and it literally was before everyone was wearing masks. They just asked us to wash our hands a lot, and then that was our last shift. They called us out of our next shift, and then our restaurant closed permanently. And that was a lot of our friends' experiences. And so it was this like mad scramble for everybody to find work and just figure out like, okay, it's only 3 weeks of a quarantine. Okay, let's hunker down. But it has been extremely frustrating, as with many of you all around the world, to see people not adhering to the safety guidelines. Just nobody in LA has really cared about social distancing. No one's cared about staying home. Like, immediately after they announced the like lifted order, our street, they shut down like half. It was a 2-lane road, and they just completely shut off the one lane, and they built like tents and all that jazz. And it was just really, really wild to see. It's been very dystopian, but pretty immediately everything got back to normal. Everyone was still doing their activities, and the film industry is still struggling to recover. We haven't filmed anything in the last year plus, and it's just been like, when can we safely get back on set? And nobody has those answers. There hasn't been any protocols or safety measures, because who knows if anybody actually knows, vaccine or not, how we're going to manage. But it really has been a chug. And it's been really wonderful not seeing influencers out on the street. Honestly, that's been like my
TikTokers out there like this, like, hey guys, what's up? We're going over here. Yeah.
I mean, we've been living as if we are in quarantine this entire time. Actually, I am not joking.
I'm with you. I'm the same way.
Oh my gosh, like it's terrifying. And we actually we had a time where Los Angeles was like, all right, we're going to slowly open back up. And then 2 weeks later, we're shut down again. And everyone's like, oh, we're back in quarantine. And Ashley and I were like, I didn't even know that we even left that. I thought that we were just kind of moving along. So, but it's been really good for us. We definitely took advantage of this year, because we always said with serving, we needed the time to be able to do things. We needed the time to get stuff together. And while film was taken off the table this year, which was what we needed the time for, which was very upsetting, it did give us an incredible opportunity to build Twitch and build it into what our stream is now, which I think is really important. And we were not going to let this time go to waste. So we actually accomplished a lot this year. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm thankful for the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, mad props for so then were you involved, were you both involved in Twitch before the pandemic then, or okay, how long have you been streaming, I suppose I should say?
We started in July, like really like the 31 of July of 2018. So we've been doing it way before the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
And like we absolutely had that boost, the pandemic boost in viewers and support, which was life-changing, and why we're able to still stream full time.
Mm-hmm.
But we like would go serve tables for anywhere from 6 to 10 hours, and then come home and stream 5 nights a week. And we're talking like we serve tables from 4 to 10:30, drive home a half hour, and then are on stream from 11:30 p.m. till 4 to 6 a.m. in the morning.
Whoa.
So like we've pulled some crazy hours to grow our community and to get ourselves out there, which means that our growth has been slower and not as strong as some of the newer streamers. And that's totally okay. Like everybody's growth is different, and our community, our Ohana, has just been so respectful and so loving and supportive. Like so many of y'all are here right now, and we love you. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have a wonderful community. I love how you say welcome home. I thought that's very nice. You know, it's just a very, it's very, I mean, even the lighting and the mood that you put, like, you know, it's just very calm and nice. And even the big sky reverb pedal, you know, it's a whole vibe.
Very nice.
It's a whole vibe. I love that. No, and I love, that's what I love about Twitch, is that you get to build sort of like your own world. And and as filmmakers and storytellers, that I'm sure that's fun for you too, because you are sort of building this image, this music side of you, this image in this world that you get to sort of explore and build onto and expand upon. Yeah, this platform has definitely changed the game. Do you premiere your videos and films on Twitch at all, or do you keep that very separate?
We do. We play them at the end of our stream. So everyone knows who's been with us for a couple usually catch on. They're like, okay, by the end of the stream, they're always going to play a movie. And we had been doing that since we started doing music, and we wanted to incorporate film more. Yeah. But now we figured that wasn't enough, because we wanted people, the minute you stop into our stream, we want you to say, oh my gosh, I found out they're filmmakers. Of course they are. I can tell, which is why we have the projection back here now. So we wanted to up the production quality. Our camera's an A7S II. So it's all like everything is film related in this stream. Just what leaves our mouths are music. And then we always still slip in film talk every now and again. And then we just get going like, see, play a song. We're like, oh, yeah, that's right. We do.
It's a very fascinating world to me, because I'm outside of it, but I have a few friends who are very involved in it, and it's very fun. It's a fascinating world. How deep do you go into the production? So are you shopping out sound design? Are you shopping out lighting? Are you shopping out, the guy who does the focus thing? I mean, like, I don't know what kind of cameras you're using, but are you how far into it do you both go? Are you very much hands-on the whole project? Or is it something where it's like, okay, I got a great editor who's over here, I got a great lighting crew over here, I got sound over here, I got a music person over here. How does it work for you?
We've never been fortunate to find a crew that we really gelled with. And so from the beginning of our careers, we had to learn how to do everything. And Court and I handle every film production like an assembly line. And we kind of just like keep passing the hot potato off. And it's like, okay, like we'll write it and literally take it script to screen. They like Court will be being my assistant director and handling all of the lighting, and I'm camera and I'm my own AC. I pull my own focus. And I think that this standard that we have has created a unrealistic expectation for the way that Hollywood operates right now, where now out of 2020 into 2021, I think the more indie filmmakers like us are about to flourish because you can't have a ton of people on your crew. And even when we've worked on big productions, it's just not for us.
Yeah.
There's so many people just standing around not doing anything. And we work on such a short turnaround. Like we filmed Eye for Eye, the film that you showed, in less than 72 hours script to screen. And like other films of ours, we film in anywhere from like 2 hours to 6 hours. And we just don't have the time to mess around, and we don't have the finances because we're self-funding, and our community from Twitch has helped fund a lot of projects moving forward. But it's just like, we do not have time to mess around and have people be out of place, especially when it's like high energy projects.
Yeah. No, the idea of relying on other people, even if you are paying them,
Yes.
like the idea of relying on other people is why I'm never sleeping or never chilling, like where my family has to be like, you gotta stop, like you just gotta stop, bro, just get over here. What's up, lovely ladies? Welcome. And by the way, I see your questions for the guests. Anybody who has questions for the guests, please use your fresh bars. They're only one fresh bar, so they're very affordable questions you can ask directly to the guests, and I will get to them kind of like a song list. We'll kind of go down in order, so we'll get to them. Just throw them in there so I can keep track of them. No, like the idea of having to pay somebody or wait for somebody, it drives me nuts. And I'm sort of the same way. It's like I sort of had to learn every aspect to music production. And I even do a little videography, which I don't want to even. I'm not like anything. But, I work and I'm getting paid to do it. So it's not like I'm not that. It's just I'm not. My brain is in too many different places for me to like be like, this is exactly what I got to focus in on forever, So it's just, it's too hard. And I love it. It's too big of a thing to even try to understand. So I just go with how I do it, but whatever. Yeah. I do you think that's, I know you said it's an unrealistic expectation, but do you think that is the way that filmmakers should proceed, especially indie filmmakers? Do you think that maybe that indie filmmakers today should take on that responsibility of sort of knowing how to edit, knowing how to pull focus, knowing how to do every aspect of the job, and sort of taking these projects on by themselves? I mean, would you suggest that to somebody? If someone was like, hey, what should I do to get funny, and like, how should I go about it? Like, what would you tell them?
I've worked with so many directors that don't know how to articulate themselves. And I think by immersing yourself in the different worlds when it comes to filmmaking, whether it's editing or cinematography or acting, by really getting into those worlds and learning the nuances, learning the vocabulary, you're going to be better off knowing how to do all of these things. I'm not saying you have to be the best at them, but if you're able to say, oh, I want a crossfade here, instead of being like, oh, the thing where like the shots are just like together and then we go from one to the other. saying a crossfade, do you see how fast that was, you know? And then like also speaking to an actor, like I have an actor vocabulary book in my back pocket when we're in rehearsal, because different stuff lands with different actors, and asking actors about their different processing, it's like changes the way that they are receptive or non-receptive to your process. So yes, 100% yes.
I would say if you want to be a director, yes, please do that. As far as acting goes, just the world that I'm in, I think you can definitely make yourself more valuable as an actor, because obviously they want you to sing, dance, and whatever your triple threat is. But I think that you can make yourself incredibly valuable if you know what's going on behind the camera. It makes you a better actor, in my opinion, because you are so conscious of everybody else's job that once you're comfortable with what they're doing, then I feel like you can settle into your job easier, because you're expecting a sound person to be right here. You're expecting Ashley to be right here, which is usually the distance apart that we are when we're filming. So
you just have to be close all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I do think it's important. I wouldn't say necessarily just stretch yourself so thin, but definitely learning more than one thing is important, because if you show up onto our set in particular and you are an actor and you cannot complete your one job that you've been given, which is to act, it's incredibly frustrating. Not saying you get more leniency if you do other things, but if you are going to do one thing and only one thing, you better be damn good at it. is, you know, because there are things that are expected of you. If you're coming on as an actor, please know your lines. So I agree, just with a little more nuance in there.
Just piggybacking though, real quick, I think that by like all of the actors that we've worked with that understood, oh, we're going in for a mid shot, oh, we're going in for a close up, and then when we're talking about editing, they're mindful of continuity.
Right.
And so as an actor, like, and we've worked with thousands of actors from around the world, the actors that understood what their camera angle, like, it's kind of annoying when we're in like a time crunch, but when they're asking, is this a mid shot? Do I need to go all out? Is it a wide? Am I in it at all? And then like understand editing, that they need to be continuous. Those are the actors that we work with time and time and time again.
Yeah. The phrase for actors is avoid the edit room floor. So if you are spot on, then the editor's not going to cut you out. But if you're not, then you're not going to be there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Show prepared. That's a good bit of information, or a good bit of advice. I mean, it seems obvious, right? It seems obvious if you're an actor, you should probably show up knowing what you're doing. But I mean, even in the music world, working with bands, I've worked with tons and tons of bands, and helping develop bands, putting bands together, and you know, MDing, music directing. But the most frustrating thing is when people are showing up and they don't have their music down, or they don't even have like a notebook or anything. Like, they're just like, hey, I'm here, I'll pick it up. And it's like, and also it's like being prompt, you know, being on time. I've always said, it's like, you could be the greatest musician in the world, but if you can't show up on time with the music down, then you're not worth anything. Like, you might as well be just starting, because you're an amateur. You know, you're not a professional at all. You might as well go back to, you know, your open mic space or whatever you were doing, because it's worthless to me. I don't care. That's like most bands. Gotta just be able to hang and be cool. And that is another part of it, is in the music world, especially what I see. I don't know if this translates to acting or the film industry, but like, just by being a good good at teamwork and being, you know, on time, you don't necessarily have to have this huge talent, but if you're on time and you're hardworking, and you know your lines, or you know your parts, and you got them down, is like, a lot of times you're gonna get the job over even someone who might be more proficient. Does that translate into the acting and film world?
With us, yes, we definitely would rather work with people that we like. So being on time and how you carry yourself on set, and your respect for our time, because like Ashley was saying earlier, we are on a time crunch most of the time. So if you show up and you don't know your lines, and this is any part of filmmaking, but you don't meet your deadline, or you don't know what you're doing, or you're just disrespectful to everybody else on set and not caring, like, well, I'm just making a film and I'm getting paid, so we're not going to bring you back. we would much rather work. And then the people who are willing to learn, even if we'll just say acting, if you're not the best actor, but you're willing to learn, Ashley can direct you that way. She can't direct you if you come in with an ego and don't know your lines. She can't do anything with that. So exactly what you said. Absolutely. We would much rather have that.
That ego, man, that ego gets, I mean, it's so strange. Have you been in a situation where you've had to, and it doesn't have to be ego, but like you've had to like let someone go, or you've had to like, be like, hey, what's up? Do you generally address these things, or do you sort of let it go and just never work with them ever again?
There have been a couple situations that later on in our career, we've had the opportunity to walk away from and say no. But when we were shooting our feature film, we did the whole thing for like tens of thousands of dollars, which is crazy.
Wow.
But we had people that were unprofessional, that called out, that just they showed up to set like very inebriated and like just not participatory on any element of their job. And like, yeah, we've definitely had conversations where it's like, hey, what's going on? Like, but then it kind of comes to a point where it's, especially when you're paying them, like you're fucking with my vision here. Like you're fucking,
oh yeah,
like
fuck
Courtney does so much work in prep and likewise when it comes to all of the elements of production, and we're paying for your time, and we're paying for the person that you auditioned as or that we interviewed. And when you're not that version of yourself, we get that you have off days, but one individual in particular, it was 3 days straight, and we had to just be like, look, we're 3 days into a 14-day feature. We can't and we will not go through with this. And we ended up not having an audio person that for the entire feature film, which ended up messing us up for the entire duration of like, even still now, like had we just figured something out and gone with somebody else, then things would have been different. But we have had situations here in LA that the one situation Court was talking about well, there's been numerous, but the actor that was like, I'm going to act and I'm going to direct. And he wrote a shot list out in order of the edit. And so it was like, we were in like double M. And I was like, I'm sorry, you want to have how many setups? And we've got 8 hours to do all of the lighting changes. And the scene is 4 pages long and we're in double M of shots. And I was like having to condense it down. And it got to the point that all of the cast and crew wasn't getting paid. And so we made it was over Thanksgiving like week. Courtney and I rearranged the schedule and made us all not have to work over Thanksgiving. And he threw a temper tantrum that we didn't need to show up on Thanksgiving to shoot one shot. And we were like, no. We have to put our foot down that like, you're going to irritate the director, but the director needs to be pacified anyways. So like, let him do his thing and eat his turducken.
He actually let
that was what he was mad about.
I know.
You're messing up my turducken.
He was so mad that he paid $100 and he got a pumpkin pie from Costco. And I was like, my guy, we don't want to work on Thanksgiving. Okay.
He gave Ashley. So we arrived on our scheduled time while I was setting up the lights. Ashley spent an hour just redoing the shot list. Because
every day
she was doing that. So kind of like if she has the reins to start doing that, I mean, he would even ask her acting questions, even though he was the director. He's like, well, what do you think? And what do you think about this? So it turned into Ashley was the director without
getting paid,
without the credit of directing.
Without getting paid. Yeah. I don't want the credit, please. Keep the credit.
Keep the credit.
It was a really interesting shoot.
What is this? Work-life balance? Never. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, never. We don't do that. Those Costco pumpkin pies are bomb.
They are
good.
But it's like $5.
Whoever finishes those, unless you have more than 2 people.
Don't be mad when people don't want to eat your Costco pumpkin pie, okay?
I have a turducken and a Costco pumpkin pie just going away. No, but I dig that idea of how sort of going forward you think that indie is sort of gonna, like, the indie approach is gonna sort of be more widely accepted. I mean, especially after this pandemic and how things are being done. When you look at production, when I'm looking at like Jimmy Fallon and I'm like, My shit's about as good as Jimmy Fallon's. It's like, you know, he's talking to somebody on Zoom. It's like, whatever. It, I don't know, like that approach to it. I think I saw like an interview with the Duplass brothers, and they kind of have this thing where they have their own sort of little machine way of working, and they come from that indie world, and they come from that idea, and I remember an interview with like Louis C.K. as well. How he sold his show was like, hey, you spend like, you know, $1 million per episode over here. I can do one episode for like $20,000 with my crew, with my people, on a like really do really quality work on a budget. Because like you're saying, in this industry, there tends to be a lot of people just sort of standing around, a lot of union people, you know, like who got to be there because that's part of the whole union thing. And nothing against unions or anything like that. But this leads to the waste of people just sort of standing around, you know, looking around, doing whatever. I guess I'll move this over here, or whatever it is. You know, there's a lot of waste that goes into these huge productions that can be eliminated by just some forethought and cutting the fat. And so I do see that, and I'm not in that world at all. So I don't. I just see that. I could see where you're coming from. What else sort of leads you to believe that the indie world is sort of going to be on the rise as well?
I mean, you're watching the rise of YouTube. Like, this is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like it, where content creators, ourselves included, have been like forcefully shoved in the YouTube direction, because that really is the future of content creation. You have so many different streaming platforms that are hungry for content. Like, I can't even name all of the ones that are out there anymore. So why wouldn't you emphasize small budget, like small crew productions to make this content move forward, when we need to have so much content being chugged out because so many people are consuming so much content on a daily basis? It's alarming. You're watching it happen on TikTok, you're watching it happen on Instagram. But to backtrack on what you're saying about the unions and stuff, I think that our storytelling and a lot of the up and coming storytelling isn't dedicated to big budgets. It is really about going back to the art of storytelling. And like this weekend, the Russo brothers are hosting a 48-hour film festival that's kind of just like, work with what you have where you are and like make a film. And that's the barrier of entry, I think, is so many people are so convinced that, well, I don't have $100,000, I don't have an expensive camera, I can't make this happen. And that's just simply not the case. You're watching like 12-year-olds shoot these cinematic landscapes on their iPhone. Yes. And so like you were saying, like the whole Jimmy Fallon and all of that stuff, it's real. And if this last year hasn't been an indicator of how much you can accomplish, not just here on Twitch, but in content creation moving forward, you can do so much virtually with very little crew. And so I think that this and the rise of YouTube, TikTok, short form content is going to skyrocket. Quibi just went about it in a very convoluted way, but I think had they marketed more so like TikTok, that would have taken off, but it just didn't.
And I think something that people need to pull their head out of their ass about is that indie film, or these other ideas that in America especially aren't Marvel or like aren't going to sell.
Fast and Furious
9 billion.
Oh my gosh.
That they won't sell. And that's just not true at all.
Yeah.
People want fresh ideas. That's why all of us indie filmmakers are like, here's my contribution to the world. And like, please look at it, because there are so many incredible indie filmmakers that are telling really beautiful stories. And that also, like Ashley was saying, that doesn't mean less quality. That is not what that means at all. You actually get more tender love and care for a baby that is here for you to consume and watch. Consume was a really weird word to use when speaking about children. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But it's really important, because I see so much stuff just on whether it's on YouTube or Netflix even. And then it's like, oh, this was really low budget. This was only this. And friends of ours are making really, really beautiful content. And it's not going anywhere because it doesn't sell. But I am so tired of someone is going to hate me for this, but like, I don't want to see any more Star Wars stuff. I don't want to see any more Marvel stuff. I don't want to see any more Disney reboots. They're like, you're completely botching original content. And so many people have so many incredible ideas. And now everything's being pulled from books now. There are so many fresh ideas out there that no one is paying attention to. And that is really unfortunate. So I really hope that with the rise of indie film that we're going to actually let some indie filmmakers have the floor.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably get to some of these questions here. Speaking of song lists, are you thrown off by when regulars don't have any regular songs they request?
No. I mean, are we talking about Rick, are you talking about in the song list? Because when someone, so Chris really loves I'll Follow You Into the Dark. When he doesn't request that, I don't think much of it. I appreciate it because then we get to sing our song list is 300 deep. So it's really exciting when people request other stuff in the song list that maybe isn't something that they normally would.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Pragmatism has its place. You don't need a humongous budget. Now more than ever, there are more services that provide platforms to people who have ideas. Of course, there is always the issue of privilege and what can be afforded, but it seems that things are becoming more accessible. Yeah, totally. Do you think with things becoming more accessible that that's more of a good thing, or do you think it's something that will oversaturate the market and make it harder?
The market is always going to be oversaturated with everything.
Right.
Just in our experience as music streamers on Twitch, there was an influx of music streamers, and there's a lot of big professional names in music that came to Twitch. And some may argue, oh, it's oversaturated, but if they're bringing awareness to this platform, they're bringing eyeballs and they're bringing audiences with them. And I think that that translates over to filmmaking. Yeah. Now, it may be hard to cut through the noise because there are so many YouTube content creators. There are so many filmmakers. Like, film festivals are a dime a dozen. Films, honestly, are a dime a dozen. But what makes filmmakers and musicians and artists really stand out is the continuation of work and like constantly growing your portfolio. We have friends that have done only 2 short films in the time that we've done 100 that look down upon us, and we also look down upon them. You know, like there's going to be stuff that like we always don't agree on. And I think that that's where the whole like conversation of oversaturation comes from. Everyone has their different opinions, but by there being more people out there that are excited and invigorated about filmmaking and art and music, I think that that just leads us to have these breakthroughs to create new types of stories and really expand our horizons together as a collective, instead of like nitpicking and being like, well, there's so many people over there that are making so much content. Like, the cream of the crop will rise eventually, as long as you stick with it. So
whether you've made 1 or 100.
Whether you've made 1 or 100,
we've made 100, and I think our quality is pretty damn good.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I think we'll be all right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think your quality is absolutely like top notch. I mean, like, and the talent that you work with as well. Like, you two have a very good eye for talent as well. Like, I haven't seen one film where I'm like, that guy sucks as an actor. Maybe I haven't dug far enough, or like, this is taking me out of the story because this guy, I hate him, you know, like, or whatever it is. You guys, no, you made me, I was just like, oh, I do not like, I was like, what was it? It was in Under Pressure when Courtney is she having an affair, or is she just talking to somebody because she's lonely because Joel is at work all the time? I was confused by that. Was there an affair going on, or was it just like an emotional affair, or what was that, by the way?
I wouldn't even say that it was an affair at all. I think that, especially when you're going through something like that, and this is where it's the double-edged thing, because Joel was just trying to work as hard as he could, doing the best he could at a job that didn't appreciate him, but she needed him. And it didn't matter how much money he was making. It didn't matter if you could afford, or he could afford her treatment for anything. It didn't matter. She just wanted him to be there for her. So I think that that's all that was.
Yeah.
It's also that was her donor.
You're right. I know that.
Yeah, I don't know if that came through at all,
It
but
did. It did. It did. That was the bone marrow donor. But
yeah.
I was just confused. Like, so wait, is she having an affair with him? But maybe I'm just.
No, I mean, like that's a natural inclination
Mhm.
that a
He
lot
thought
of
that.
like
Right.
a lot of people and Bob Harris, who was Joel in that, also was like, is this an affair? And I was like, I can't answer this question for
Got it.
you.
Yeah.
You have to make that decision, and you have to arrive there based on your biases and your worldview on things.
Yeah, I mean that's a really intense short film. And how do you communicate with an actor who has to like, murder people and stuff? Like how do you like approach someone who has to do like very intense, very I can imagine very draining, very emotionally draining things. My wife is an actress, and I know that she'll run a scene about rape all day, and then come home and be like, "Oh God, this is like So I'm aware that this is emotionally taxing. So like, how do you go about like ushering a good performance, like a very convincing of performance from an actor, um, under those circumstances?
I work very closely with all of our actors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always the screenwriter,
Mm-hmm.
and I make myself very available from the starting process of when we bring them on. I explain the parameters. We have certain safeguards in place that if we are doing so eye for eye, and there was a suggestive scene. There was just I was on the receiving end of everything happening, and me as camera, I took the brunt. I always try to find the way to make the actor or actress as comfortable as possible. In the case with Under Pressure, we ran it through and we kind of explained to him, and every actor is a little bit different. There have been films that we had to leave the actors alone for 4 hours so they could get in a headspace, which is like, we don't have time for this.
Right.
But for the most part, everyone's been really, really wonderful in me saying, hey, I'm not going to wear you out. We're going to shoot this maybe 2 to 4 times. I know the coverage that we're getting, and we're going to rehearse it without you going full out, so that when we run this performance, everybody better be on their A game. And that pressure, you can correct me too, and like bring your 2 cents into this, because like you are on the receiving end of this so often, but it is so important to make sure that everybody understands, like you communicate thoroughly what the expectations are, how the scene is going to play out, and make it a collaboration and really make them a part of it, because they're the person bringing this character and this story to life. And all I can do is fall into support and make sure that they have the resources and tools to tell that story.
Yeah, I mean, my experience is a little bit different because I'm always there within the writing process. Ashley's very open about what is going to be in the script. She's told me that she's not going to put things in the script because she doesn't want to put an actor through something that she wouldn't do herself. And so when she's talking to me about stuff, she hasn't put things in there, and I've said it's okay to put that in there. I will be okay if you put that in there. So she's very open with me about what the script is going to look like. And on set, she's the same way. I haven't ever felt emotionally exhausted by a role. Actually, I've been just physically exhausted because it is physically taxing.
Yeah.
I am kind of able to compartmentalize that. Once the camera's off, that's it, I'm done. And I'm just tired because I was bawling my eyes out for 4 takes or what have you. But being on set, Ashley is incredibly respectful and just say after every take, are you okay? How was that? How are things? Which I think a lot of directors don't do. They just roll right over you and they're like, all right, cool, just get set, let's do it again. And she's really appreciative, and she takes care of your feelings as the actor because it's her film and she's asking a lot of you, and she knows she's asking a lot of you in any of the scenes. So she's always there to make sure that you are okay and just have that extra step. And then, like she said, she's always there to talk to and say, hey, this line I'm not really sure about, or how are you thinking this would go as far as like the intimacy of it. In the film that you screened, we were both under this kid. She was sitting there filming and I was laying there. So, I mean, he might've been uncomfortable, but she was there with me. She was there with him. So she's like, I'm right in this with you guys. It's okay. And that's something that's really special about Ashley.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
That for that whole like sequence in Eye for Eye, we shot that one time. That was it.
Mhm.
It was 30 seconds of footage. Like, we don't need to belabor this situation. Like, we got the shot, let's move. We don't need to shoot for safety. I have it. We're rolling with this.
We know what happens.
Yeah.
Right. Have you both ever had any blowback because of the content that you put out? Like, for instance, Joel strangles his coworker to death. So like something like violence against women and showing it. Have you had any kind of blowback in that sense from anything you put out?
We've definitely had people express concerns of being uncomfortable, but we've done our best to be as transparent as possible about the type of films we make and the type of filmmakers we are. I think we tell a lot of stories that are geared towards complex women characters. And actually, eye for eye, when we completed the film, there was a whole echelon of men at the top of this program that said, no, this is not a believable story. Women would never feel that angry as to take justice into their own hands and then become violent. And this was a bias that we had to confront dead on, and we had to stand our ground. Our whole team was made of women, and we were like, okay, so if something happens to your sister, your girlfriend, they're like, oh, I'd kill the guy. And it's like more so having to explain why this is a real story and these women really would react this way in Under Pressure too, that Courtney's character would legit be that angry, and not like that she is complex, that she has feelings, and there's more to it than just like the story that you're seeing and then the end point of the film, So we've definitely had people get mad at us about diversity, about their understanding of different topics and what they don't like to confront as the truth within themselves.
And what's really interesting about that, I just thought about this, is so something they said is that a woman would never be that angry to do that. But yet, in the eyes of a lot of men, we're seen as being extremely emotional. So why would we not be that angry? Why would we not be the people like, we don't need you to be angry on our behalf, because according to you, we are more than emotional enough for ourselves. So it didn't really make much sense that they would say that. And it's just because you haven't seen that. But now there are movies like Peppermint where she's like, no, I'm going to wait 5 years and then I'm going to go and kill all of you. And it does, like, there is so much anger in it's just the way that we deal with it could be a little bit different. But it was really important for us to address that in this one.
Have you ever had a situation where you were asked or told to edit something out or change something because it made somebody uncomfortable, or it was not, it went outside of, this doesn't work with the storyline, it goes beyond that. It's like, this, I just don't like this aspect. I don't want her choking her to death, like that's just violence against women. Have you ever had to placate to those kind of demands?
No, because everything we've done has been independent. And honestly, your art should hurt people's feelings. Your art should move people to confront their own internal biases. So have there been people that have expressed displeasure or anger at our projects? For sure. But I also am not a huge fan of their work either. So, like, it's just understanding that all of us are in completely different realms, and what someone deems as being really great and like hilarious, we look at and we're like, wow, that's really offensive. Like, no, we wouldn't touch that with a 50-foot pole. I think that has heavily to do with how heavily we vet our projects and the stories that we tell, because once someone watches something, especially and it's your work, you are now responsible for those memories that they live with. And if you just kind of surprise attack them with stuff without putting a trigger warning ahead of it, you're kind of an asshole as a creator. So just very, very, very being mindful of people's traumatic experiences and repressed memories that they may not even be aware of. So no, we haven't had to, because we've stayed out of the studio world.
That, and we stand by it, like Ashley said, we vet it. We stand by every single thing that we do. People don't like it when it comes out. We're like, well, that's tough shit, because we really like it. This is something that's important to us. And we're willing to step out on a ledge and just try different things, but we know where our moral line stands, and exactly what Ashley said, what we're willing to put people through as far as feelings. Yeah. So especially for films, trigger warning, and even on our stream, we're like, guys, we need to take a second. Trigger warning about this. If you need to step out, please do that. And we've had people who say, I'm sorry, I can't stay for the rest of the film, which we totally respect, right. But we have to give them that option to make that choice for themselves. We're not going to just bombard them with content that they're never going to unsee without telling them that that is a possibility. Mm-hmm. That's just being a courteous human being, I think.
Suarez, you lovely human being. How you been, buddy? Thank you so much for that. Look at you, subscribe for 6 months. How dare you, Matt Suarez? How dare you? Thank you, my friend. I love you, Matt. Thank you for that shout out, Reina. That was perfect. Oh, I love your emote. How do you feel about, these, when certain situations do occur where people are making changes because of maybe something that you wouldn't even see as that bad, but someone is offended? Well, how does that make, how do you two respond to that? How does it make you feel when you see other projects that are getting shut down because of, or even movies getting canceled, or however that works, just because of the content of it? Do you think there should be a form of censorship to art, or do you and I know outside the extreme, I'm not trying to say like hate films or anything, but like, do you think is that something that you're okay with? Are you okay with that? How do you guys feel about that kind of, I mean, we're seeing it a lot now. So I don't know. How does that make you feel?
Louis C.K. you mentioned earlier.
I did.
If he never works in Hollywood ever again, that would be too soon, because the culture of abuse has been coming out to the forefront more so now than ever.
Thank God.
And it's so important to talk about that element of the power dynamic and control that so many executives have had over productions. So in that case of stuff like that being canceled, absolutely agree. And you need to give those opportunities to under like represented communities and women and people of color. Like, there's so many stories to tell that we don't need another mediocre, stupid story that we've seen 150 times. There are so many films and so many scripts out there that have so much more to give and so much more of an impact than a lot of these films that have been canceled. I totally get the censorship aspect and perspective of things, but at a given time, then go make it on your own. Go get the independent financing and go create it, because there are hundreds, thousands of films and content that's out there that offends anyone and everyone. And so they're doing it. And if you feel that strongly about it, then you go get it made, but don't cry that it's unfair that the person that was going to finance it canceled because you are a genuinely shitty person and stuff finally came out about you, you know?
Yeah. And in the realm of, let's say, our films, if someone were to come back later and say, oh, we should cancel CA because I didn't like the way that they did this, I'm not really concerned about it, even moving forward, just because you're not ever going to make anybody happy. There's always going to be someone that doesn't like your film for whatever reason. And as long as we are within our moral guidelines and we know exactly why we did this, this is why we talked about it, and we're able to back that up and not just say, oh, I just wanted to make a movie. Like, there is a reason, and we are very intentional, and we do keep that kind of stuff in mind. We always have. So if somebody just doesn't like our film and wants to cancel it, I'm able to back up why we chose to do what we did. So is Ashley, and I completely stand by it. Like I said, you're not going to make everybody happy. So try to do right by yourself as best as you can.
Also on the censorship conversation, it's really hard when you were also mentioning like, well, obviously, other than like the really terrible stuff, we don't as a society even agree on what the really terrible stuff is. No, well, like there's no definitive truth anymore. And so when you can't even make that decision that like all of us are going to come together on this one topic and it's untouchable, I don't think that we can make these statements of like, censorship, because someone's offended and then somebody else isn't offended, and it's just where's that line? Someone is always going to be offended by your stuff.
And a very drastic example is like there's porn and then there's HBO is a common one that people talk about. They're like, well, there's that, and then but HBO just they do whatever they want. And so it's exactly that. It's really hard to put a definitive line in the sand.
Yeah.
Do you think that the cancel culture has gone too far in some aspects, or do you think it's right on point?
Honestly, we try our best not to stay too attuned to what's going on in like society. Because again, it's as content creators and artists, you have to be very mindful of where your energy is going. Right. And I don't have the energy to keep up with what YouTuber was canceled and then they're going to be redeemed the next day, and then they issue an apology. Like also coming from inside the film world, I don't know how much of this is staged. I don't know how much of this is like logistically, like they plan to put out something offensive just to get back on the radar. And then now they're going to release a new documentary on YouTube, like I have no idea that variance. So it's hard to answer that.
And then just the baby boomer generation, they look at millennials and they're like, oh my gosh, they're upset about everything. It's the exact same situation for us. And we basically everything that we've grown up with 9/11 and everything that's going on right now, we have a very different view of the world because of what we were born into. And Gen Z and everybody younger has the same thing. They grew up with the internet. So their experience is completely valid and their feelings are completely valid. I don't understand all of it because I'm not there. I didn't grow up with that. And I was when dial-up didn't exist.
Right.
And so it's a whole different thing for us. And so it is important to try to not pay attention to it and just do our best, which I think every content creator is trying to do. Well, we're all just trying to make content that we're proud of. And I know that that's really difficult, but cancel culture, I don't know. I agree with what you said, and you said it really well.
Oh, thanks.
That's all I got.
No, and I do agree with that because the way that I agree that there's so much information out there that it's hard to discern what exactly is truth. And like you said, some of these people, some of these artists, some companies are canceling themselves just so they can go on an apology tour and get attention again. And so it's kind of gone a little too far in my opinion, but then there is like real truth to like these movements against oppression and stuff. There is truth to it, but then I also see the other side of it where we have social media and media and the mainstream media. I do not want to sound like Fox News. The mainstream media is lying, but they are. But it's there's just so much misinformation out there that is being funded, even in fact, that it's like, how do you even know what's real anymore and like what to even believe in? And it's very frustrating, and you can see it. You could see that it's frustrating socially too, just by how people are reacting to all of this stuff. So what do we do? What's the solution?
and even with mainstream media, let's say one investigative journalist is doing one thing and they don't see documents because maybe it's above their pay grade, but they interview 10 people and all 10 people have the same agenda. And that's actually not true. The journalist is only doing right by themselves and reporting on what they believe to be true as well because of the facts they were given. And that's all that we can do is base an opinion off the facts that we are given. And if those aren't right, then what is right and who is it coming from? Like, how far up does it go? We don't know. I don't know. Just please be nice to people. That's like, let's just bring that down to basics. Let's just be respectful of human beings. And let's start there. That's my solution. Don't be a dingus.
Don't be a dingus. I love that. So have either of you experienced writer's block? Ashley, you said you did a lot of the screenwriting and stuff. So have you ever been in that situation where it's just like I just can't do it? Ding, don't be a dingus.
Absolutely. I think writer's block is a natural part of the process. But especially what's been happening lately with us on Twitch is all of my creative energy prior to Twitch was going towards filmmaking and everything filmmaking. And it's been really important for me to not be upset with myself that I just don't have the creative energy to sit down and write a script the way that I used to. And my my whole process has been completely thrown off because Courtney and I have our own process for writing music. And then when we're sitting down hashing out ideas for stream, that's its own process. And now we've added YouTube and like external content into the mix, which has completely skewed everything. And every time you have to adapt, or every time I've had to adapt to all of these different mediums and our different audiences on all of those different mediums, it's changed the way that I create films and the way that I write films. So it's been really hard to get regimented back into screenwriting just from this unique couple years that we've had. And yeah, like our content output in 2018 when we were on Twitch was like 3 or 4 films. In 2019, we only had 2 or 3 films. And then 2020, we had 2 films. And so it's been really, really hard with the addition of Twitch and content creation as a whole to get back into screenwriting. It's been so painful.
And then we say consistency is key, which means we need to be consistent on all of these new ventures that we're
Right.
adding. So we're constantly switching gears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you both ever feel like you should like strip back and like take away some of these platforms where you because you are a little spread too thin, or do you?
TikTok is the one that I just can't understand why we're going to put resources towards that. And it's mostly because I'm not interested in doing like these bit parts. Like if we're doing that, I want to demonstrate and build that world through film.
Mhm.
And like it doesn't make sense to me as a content creator to be thinking of unique TikTok ideas to put out, because TikTok's a very, very specific platform.
Yeah.
And it's just not for us. And we had like everyone was like, you guys need to do it. You need to do it. And you guys are going to be amazingly successful. And we did it, and we did our research on it. And we just like, not that we expected instant success, but it also was kind of like, we told you this is not a good platform for us. And like, we just had to abandon ship on that. But even YouTube content, like we are burning out big time because we started putting our films on there, and then we started doing covers, and then we did this Twitch streamer boot camp, and now we're doing these film reactions, and everything is just so hard to stay on top of. They're like individual lanes that people dedicate entire channels to, and we're just trying to do it all
of it.
and then show up and be like fully energized and ready to stream and like giving of yourself.
Right.
And it's just been really hard.
I also feel like on Twitch, there are so many things with film as well, but let's say we do a Twitch stream, and I feel like we're doing this long, like tap dance number. And then at the end, we're like, ta-da, just heavy breathing, and we're exhausted. And then we do that on TikTok, and someone's drooling out of the side of their mouth, like
swipe,
and they're just keep moving on with our lives. And it's really hard. It's really hard to have that, when you are, especially Ashley and I, we put our all into everything that we're doing. And so Twitch means a lot to us, and we don't want to let our name is on something. We take that very seriously. Your name is your brand, someone in chat said earlier, and it's so true. So how are you going to represent yourself? And we do everything 100%. That's just how we are. We are not half in, we go all in. And yeah, TikTok is that's not the place for us to really flex and show what we are capable of. And that's not where we want to put our time.
I feel you. I'm going to go ahead and take time to address these 5 subs. Mighty, how dare you? Thank you so much, Mighty. I appreciate those 5 gift subs to this ever-growing community. And the Silence Noise, thank you for that host. There's a couple other things. M Sister Life, welcome. Thank you for the host. Good to see you. 96 Point2, thank you for the follow. And DJ Willie Show, I saw you followed a while ago, and I wanted to catch up with you there and say thank you so much. And hi, Fierce Babe. Nice to see you. So we got more questions here in the question thing. How can talent audition to work with you? And that is from our very own Reina Mystique.
Hey, we usually put out casting notices, and we will try to share them with our internal network first. And the thing is, we're usually on an extreme time crunch, so we move fairly quickly. We'll put the audition notice up, and then we'll do callbacks, or we'll do like a video read for them to submit within 2 days. And then we'll usually do either in person, or we'll do a video read with usually Courtney or one of the other actors that's involved, and we'll go from there. So it's very much either we put the blast out to our socials, hey, we're casting this project, here are the details, or we'll put it up on like Actors Access and all of the other, my brain is blanking because we haven't done this in so long. But we'll put it up on the casting boards and put it up on our socials. So I would say to just check out our socials. I think what we might start doing is we have a bunch of actors in a Facebook group that we usually will put that out to, because we love working with our older actors friends, and we love working with new talent. So we'll absolutely make sure to keep putting that stuff out there.
I like that. You tend to work with the same crew a lot, like with the same people a lot?
As far as actors or crew side?
Both.
We really don't work with crew. It's usually Courtney and I we'll bring one person on maybe, but we haven't had a lot of success with people that really care. It does get down to a lot of laziness. So yeah, like actor wise, depending on the project, like this weekend, I'm pretty sure we're doing a 48-hour film festival, and I'm pretty sure it's just going to be Courtney and I. So just because I can't guarantee that like everyone's going to be able to get their testing in the next 24 hours to make sure, and I don't want to put anybody at risk just to make a movie. But if it wasn't COVID times, we would probably just send out a mass text to our group who we know we've worked with before. They're good with lines. They're actors, so they have like serving jobs, or they're doing freelance work that they can work around, and they're down to memorize a script at the last second. Yeah.
I just keep coming back to like working with assholes. I just like, that's all I get. It's like when you start spreading out the inner circle, it leaves rooms for assholes to work their way in, and it's just, I feel you about working on like on a very small crew, and like that's how I like doing it. It's like, if I'm doing any kind of recording work, even, it's like, dude, you're gonna have to send it to me, and I'm gonna do it where I'm at, because I'm not gonna go somewhere, take my stuff. Don't call me an asshole publicly. I never will. Never. I love you, Silence Noise. Actually, speaking of the Silence Noise, we have a question from the Silence Noise. Here we go. So we know that you guys are all about the love and Ohana and everything, but I've got a spicy question. If you had to vote one mod off the island, who would it be? You can also vote yourself off the island. Oh my God. Why does everything got to be a troll game with you? With you and her, you and Sarah, everything's a troll game. It can't take anything serious. Just kidding.
Okay,
Lovely
well, you
question.
didn't clarify if it was past or present, so all the ones we voted off are gone.
There you go. Very good. Very good.
They are off the island. I won't name them because I can't do that.
Because they're gone.
Because they're gone.
We don't
Yeah,
even
they're
remember
no
them.
What
Much love.
what kind of things gets you gets a mod booted off the team? And you don't have to name names, but you know, what kind of things?
Recently, Chags decided to spam Pug Please, and he got booted off the island.
For Pug Please?
It was accidental, but I still stand by it.
You gotta go.
He was trying to delete the comment and just banned him, and she was like, "Oh my god!"
It was very accidental, but again,
Chris, you're a trooper.
No. Our mods are really amazing, and they've been so forthright. We expect a lot from our mods, and they've just been so wonderful. Especially in March, we had no idea that we were going to be on the front page every stream, which was fantastic. And everybody, the second that it happened, just pivoted. And not that they take it lightly, but like everyone was super attentive, and it was like, it's go time. And that's the incredibleness of all of them, is everyone has their respective jobs and they don't overstep on anyone else's jobs, and it works so well to make sure that our streams run well, and we're able to have really in-depth, like our last stream, we talked about mental health for about an hour, and just knowing that they have our back, that we can talk about this kind of stuff, and that we can go on film tangents and we can go on music tangents and stuff, and that they're always going to have our back, is world changing.
Yeah, Twitch has definitely brought something new to the table that I've never experienced, really. And that's like instant, not judgment, but instant response.
Judgment.
Yes. Actually, like, no, homie. It's judgment. It's judgment. but because I come from the podcasting world where you're just talking into the ether until someone sends you an email, and then it's like, you know, however that goes, and it's like, it could be good or bad or whatever, but it's like, all of a sudden you have like an instant response and an instant, like it's just, you can bounce ideas off of people, and you can get different perspectives that span from all over the world. And it's just that it's become not only an amazing platform for the show, but it's also become this huge tool in just learning and how to communicate with people in general. It's because I'm not that great at it. I try. I mean, I'm okay at it, but I'm just saying sometimes I'm not the best communicator. We speak English good, but it's just a very interesting platform that I've never really. You don't know what to expect when you come to this. You know, when you first come to Twitch, it's like biddies and raids and subscriptions and gift subs and all the crazy stuff that you know, that's very overwhelming at first. And yeah, I mean, it's just like you gotta like learn the platform before you can even sort of navigate in it. And I think that's why it's so underrated. I don't know. Do you think Twitch is underrated? I mean, like the Silence Noise when he was on the show, he was saying that he wishes that Twitch would take itself a little bit more seriously, you know, like because it's something that gets, well, I think Silence Noise said this, something that gets more views than primetime television. You would think they would put a little bit more money, or at least a little bit more effort behind getting the word out, you know. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think? It's underrated? Do you think that Twitch could do more? I mean, you're partnered now, so I don't know. I'm not trying to have you, you know, shit all over Twitch or anything, but I'm just curious.
Go ahead.
No, go.
I think it is a smidge underrated, just because one, people don't even know what it is, and a lot of people who do know what it is go, oh, well, that's a gaming platform. And it's so much more than that. It's expanded so much. I give it to Twitch, though. They're trying to handle a lot of stuff right now, and there's obviously Twitter adding them every 10 seconds about there's a problem here, there's a problem here. And there's only so much they can do, and things are gonna trickle down, and it's gonna take a while for us to actually see big change. But I do think definitely getting the word out that it is so much more than a gaming platform is really important. I actually don't think I've ever interacted with someone, maybe one person, who actually knew what Twitch was when we said it. So it's very rare, but I do think it's underrated. Yes.
In my experience, when we've talked about Twitch, it's been really cool to have the reception of it's music and gaming. So we're getting somewhere because there has been a huge push on the music section that there is their own tab. Like, of course, are there things that could be done better? Like always with anything, with any organization, for sure. But like Court said, I think we have a little unique perspective into Twitch and what's going on behind the scenes a little bit. And we know that there is a lot, like view bots are a lot, and just making sure that this is a great place and like the place for streamers to want to stream is like a huge priority. But like, yeah, it's hard to talk about Twitch without anybody being like, oh, live streaming, you just need a camera and you just need blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And Twitch is an entire world. It's
Right.
like, I don't know about Facebook or Instagram or YouTube Live, like any of those things, but here, like you were saying, there's a whole culture behind it. And I just don't think that the resources are there to support as many new streamers. I mean, like you fumble your way into like understanding stuff, but that's why we thought it was really important for us to have like put that information out there, find the stuff that we wish was out there and put that out on YouTube and like make it quick and succinct. Because when you're first starting out, you still have that excitement of this newness of this platform. And yeah, I mean, like getting the word out there, I guess like everybody that knows us knows that we stream on Twitch, and like everybody outside of like our parents is familiar with Twitch. So that's definitely a step further than where we were 2 years ago. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially with the exponential growth that's seen over the pandemic, and people being trapped at home looking for something to watch and get absorbed into it. It's like, man, Twitch was very much for us, for my family, a very saving grace, because there's a streamer, his name is just Joe Syracuse. I love him. He's been on the show. He's a good dude. He used to be in this rock band, and he has stories about being in an orgy with Peter Steele from Typo Negative. It's amazing. Anyway, but it's like in those first days, like we would watch Joe, and Doc Bizzle is another one who was like an OG music streamer who quit actually not too long ago, which is kind of a bummer because he's a really, really positive person that I really enjoyed hanging out with. But like in those beginning days, it was just something where it was like live music. We had lost all our gigs. Like her theater shut down. Like she was wrapping up a run. And it was just one of those things that really gave us comfort, and it gave us direction, because it was like, well, we should probably do this now. So I don't know, like, I know you two came into it a little differently. What was your precipice? What was the thing that was like, oh, we should go do Twitch now? I'm like, let's do that. Because, I mean, especially 2 years ago, when really nobody knew what Twitch was, and the music section was fairly new, I think, a couple of years ago. So, what urged you or pushed you into this?
So a friend of ours who streams on Twitch, he was in our feature film, and he's been in a few of our projects. We'd finally moved out to LA, and he's like, we should grab dinner and catch up and see what's going on and what's new. And then we would see this thing on Instagram, and we're like, he's gaming. Okay, cool. What? Because he's predominantly an actor. And so when we met up, we were asking what's going on. We're like, what is this entity? What is happening here? Are you just streaming games? Like what's going on? And he started telling us about Twitch, and we were just listening. And then he was like, okay, but you guys should do it though. And immediately went, you what? And he said that he's like, you guys would kill it on there. You should look into it and figure it out. So we started doing a kind of a search on there just to see what it was about. And we saw a lot of games, and eventually we're like, okay, well, Ashley had just had this nostalgia burst, and she was like, I want an N64 and I want all of these games. And so we just acquired all of this stuff. And we figured, okay, well, we'll start gaming then, not knowing that there was a music community. We had seen, I found out right at the top of this that ASMR existed. I had no idea what that was. So jumping into Twitch, I was like, this is fascinating. And So we started gaming, and then he would rate us, and he was doing really well on Twitch. So we were fortunate enough to have a friend who was streaming, and then eventually we were left to our own devices. We would do a song of the hour on Twitch, and everyone just kept wanting to hear more music instead of watching us in this little tiny screen over here, because we had a different overlay for music where you could see our faces. And then we just eventually said, you know what, we should just do music full time. That's where we should go and thrive. Okay, great. I give it to gamers for reading chat and playing their game and everything that they do. Y'all are incredible. Not for us. And so we jumped into music, and we've been doing music ever since.
Excuse me. Oh, hold on one second. My.
I feel that so much.
You got it.
It's this cough, man. This is that weed-induced cough right here, man. You gotta pound it out sometimes. You gotta pound it out. Well, I had this question, but I coughed it away. So I suppose we'll just change directions drastically. Wait, no, it's coming back. Hold on. You guys were talking about how you guys got started, how you two got started. Okay, hold on. Who cares? It's gone now. Just let it go, Mike. You're not getting it back. It's gone. You've smoked your brain cells away. So how, in the writing process of writing a script, how often are you finding oh my gosh, are you serious, Mighty Mighty? All right, we'll do that. Let me ask this question, and we'll get to the Baby Yoda interview. How much do you draw from reality? I've talked to some writers, and some writers are very, biographical or autobiographical in their writings, inserting a lot of their own life experience into it. How is that for you? Do you incorporate a lot of that, or do you like to just start off and just something that you're not even familiar with? I mean, how do you go about that?
There are Easter eggs of like running themes through our films, but it kind of all depends. I never fully will like put everything in there because we're already like giving our all to make the film. Right. But 99% of the time, everything is fabricated. May draw from experiences and like pull nuances of different experiences that we've had or different like interactions that we've had and like fumble them all together in elements. But yeah, I've never really, Valentine's Day is the only one that was like really crafted from a real life situation. But even so, there was a lot of artistic changes that were made that still got the point across. But I don't want to ever put anyone in our personal life on blast. I never want anyone to like, the whole thing, like, don't ever date an artist because you're going to get your stuff on blast. Yeah, but like I try really hard to shield the identities and the stuff that's happened in our relationships that were more personal and private, and just find a way to make it work and like be inspired by those experiences or those people in our work. Yeah.
So it's still cathartic for us, and it's because I think that's important. Our music is the same way too, because it is broad, but we do like it's fabricated, but we do talk a lot about the stuff that is personal.
Yeah. It usually goes over people's heads though. So
cool.
Yeah, especially if you have them trained to sort of, I think artists who put themselves out there in like those very, very vulnerable ways, who are really putting themselves out there and like really, I'm trying to think of like Bukowski or something, right? Like Bukowski, he definitely drew from real life and made himself look like the asshole a lot of the time. But and that's just a very distant example, but it's whatever. How do you decide on like what to work on? How do you decide like what to put energy in? Like, how do you decide like what story you want to tell? Or is it just something that's like, I gotta do this and I gotta do this now?
It all depends. Yeah, it kind of is like, what are we like? Is there a deadline? Is there a project that we're working on that has parameters? Like, a 48-hour film festival or a specific challenge of a project that's based around something. That's how a lot of our projects were born. Like our film Cerebral was for a 48-hour film festival. And so we had to do something like from script to screen in 48 hours. And it had to be a drama that was centered around a character named Q Treller, and they had to use duct tape. And so we were like, okay, cool. So it's a serial killer. And like, that's kind of how we went about with that. And then likewise with like Head in the Clouds, that one's about a kid that like lives like idolizing NASA. That was for a space theme competition.
Oh, cool.
But like with like First Impressions and Legacy, those are the two films that are like really focused on like Filipino stories. And I was just really, really missing my Lola. I'm Filipino, and I realized that I haven't told any Filipino stories. So it was just trying to explore a short film in a short period of time that was a day in the life, slice in the life of these individuals. Legacy was actually for a 29-day film festival. And it had to be 5 minutes or less showing off Los Angeles as a destination for people to want to come. So like, yeah, that whole thing ended up being about Los Angeles. So yeah, so much of our catalog is because we were entering festivals or competitions and it had to be centered around something.
Oh, that's cool though. I mean, it's almost like a jump off point, or what do you call it? What people use for writer's block, like not a template, but you know, like you can buy those books that have like prompts and stuff, like writing prompts and stuff. The God, I'm just losing these questions. I'm just losing these questions left and right because you said something. Oh, your Filipino experience. I really enjoyed, and I'm sorry I don't have any of the names because I'm just terrible at all of that. Again, huge stoner right here. I really enjoyed the one where it was the Filipino dude and his girlfriend, and they're meeting the parents and that whole interaction, because I come from, I'm not Filipino, I'm Mexican, but I have that, like, you know, there's like this I almost said something stupid. There's this like immigrant mentality, right? That comes over, and I don't know what your story is, but like my mom is from Mexico, and that resonates so hard with me, and I know the cultures are completely different, although there is a lot of connection with the Spanish stuff, but it hits so hard because of that like ultra judgmental, that looking for like college and being oversharing and like that, it resonated with me because my own mother, it wasn't that extreme, but it was just something that I could relate to really hard, just being the child of an immigrant. And I don't know, is that something that you might have pulled from life experience? Because I mean, it was just so dead on. I don't, you know, like, I don't know what your story is, but I mean, is that something you've had to deal with?
Not me personally, but I've had a lot of friends. Like, this is very typical in immigrant communities. And this is a very, very prevalent thing that I experienced in college with a lot of my friends in our Filipino club, that this was happening left and right. And this was way before conversations of like DACA and everything like that. Yeah. So just finding out, there was this one night at a party that things just got so real. And this girl came in crying, and no one could understand. She was so distraught, and she was just like, I'm not legal. And we were like, wow. What? Like, not that it mattered to any of us, but it was just watching all of that. And then hearing her story of like, I don't take the metro, and everything about her being unable to go on trips with us out of state made so much sense. And so many people were like, yo, me too, me too. Oh, my cousin's in this situation. And they all started talking about this world that First Impressions was built around. And it was so eye-opening for me that so many of my peers were living with this reality that their parents brought them over pre 9/11. And because everything happened, like, at that point in time, you could just buy social security cards, is what I found out.
Yeah.
And after 9/11, you couldn't. And so it was so many parents feeling guilty that they, when they first came over, didn't set their kids up for success. And then now the way that they're trying to like fix it and right their wrongs was the financial of like, hey, we're going to give you this money for my child to like fit in. And just that cast that brought First Impressions to life was one of my favorite, if not my favorite cast ever to work with, because they all had personal ties to that story and you could see it in the performances, and it was just beautiful. And I love you in that so much.
You are so good. And I gotta say, your ability to connect, like I forget what that's even called. It's but your connection with whoever you're talking to, whoever you're acting with, is so great. Like you just have such a powerful connection, for lack of better words.
Thank you.
Appreciate my stoner verbiage there. Okay, we're running out of time here, so let's get our Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda, I am summoning Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda, are you there? Can you hear me? Baby Yoda, I'm summoning our good friend Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda, come to us, Baby Yoda. That's not Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda, can you hear me? Are you there? Wait, sometimes he takes a little bit. You gotta let him. He's
shy.
He's a little shy. You gotta give him space sometimes. Gotta give him space. Ash has freaking chops. Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. I'm not crying. You're crying.
Oh.
Okay. I think Baby Yoda is here. Baby Yoda, are you here? Are you with us?
Yeah.
Oh, there you are, Baby Yoda. What is up? Baby Yoda, how you doing today?
Pretty good.
Yeah? That's great. That's great. Did you have a question for Ashley and Courtney?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
What has been your favorite stream so far?
Ooh, that's a good one. What has been your
Stream.
favorite? I mean, that has to be hard. That has to be tough. It's a tough question. Those are hard-hitting questions, Baby Yoda.
I mean, I don't know what my favorite stream was, but I think one of my favorites was completing Amira Part 1. Just because that having that goal up there in general, and it was such a hefty goal that it seemed so tangible at the time. And it is like, we can get the camera now, but it was so tangible. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is our dream camera. This is something we've wanted for a while. And the whole community, we all just kind of celebrated together and basked in this moment. And we just talked about film and what it meant to us. And it was just that next, that was one of mine, I think.
The front page, the most recent front page was crazy special. I think my favorite though was there was this night. It was this random like Wednesday night, and Courtney and I had just gotten home from work, and we were playing music, and we were downstairs here, and we got like 100 sub bombs, and I was just bawling my eyes out. We had mustaches in our septums, and it was such a wild night. And I think that that was a different night, but and then we like screened our films, and it was this like insane amount of support, and my first understanding of how life-changing Twitch really was. That it wasn't just us showing up and performing. It was like people from around the world really saw us and connected with us and supported us. And it like that set the precedent for me moving forward on how my mindset was with our family and with Twitch and really leveling up our stream. Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow, that's amazing. Baby Yoda. Thank you so much for that question. Ashley Courtney, do you have a question for Baby Yoda that you would like to ask?
How are you so perfect?
What is your preferred tea? Because I see you sipping tea a lot.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda, what is your favorite preferred tea?
I would have to go with Breathe Easy.
Oh, from traditional medicinals. Oh, very classy.
Okay.
Very classy. Breathe easy.
Okay.
Love
Apparently
that.
has some breathing issues.
And I also have another thing to say.
Oh, okay. Please do.
As a baby, I am into kid stuff, of course. So I have this thing going like 27 days to glory, which that means like I have a yes day, which if you have not heard of it, a yes day is when you let your kid go and you have to say yes to them for 24 hours. But there is ground rule.
We like those.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's ground rules because some kids might take advantage of a yes day and try to pull one over on their parents, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Baby Yoda, thank you so much for your insight, your wisdom, and your words. We truly appreciate your presence here. You have a wonderful rest of your day, all right there, bud?
Okay,
All right, peace out, bro.
peace out.
All right, sweet. All right. It's getting down to the wire. I'm gonna leave this completely up to you. We're not gonna do Cypher Deluxe today, guys, because I have to use the restroom pretty bad. But yeah, and also I got stuff to do. So we're gonna skip Cypher Deluxe, but Ashley and Courtney, they have to leave soon, but they're down to play a song for us. If you want to, you don't have to. If you don't
Yeah.
want to, we
Yeah.
can just sit here for the last few minutes and look at each other awkwardly if you want.
Oh.
But yeah, the floor is yours if you want to perform a song.
Yeah.
We can
Sweet.
do that.
Awesome. I really appreciate that, and I know it's weird over Zoom. It's just it's not going to be the best, but I've been loving these performances over Zoom because it's just such a sign of the times, and I don't know. I was taking them out of the audio versions, but I've been putting them back in because I just feel like it's just I really I think it's amazing that we can even do this. So I'll stop blabbing and let's let the ladies do their thing. All right, folks, this is CA in LA performing for y'all.
Well, we're going to play an original called Herd Mentality. A lot of you have heard it, but if you haven't, we hope you enjoy it. I hate to do this because I thought it would hurt more than it does. You didn't, you disavowed. The blindfold removes the blame. If you left without as much of a doubt, you were never really here. Follow the leader, marches to its own created time. Quick, better keep up, quick, gotta keep up. Follow the leader. Silence implicates the innocent. He screamed, shame, shame. Speak your peace and disrupt mine. Did I lose your memory too? Rewrite those pages to reflect. The plot twist confuses the prologue. If you left without as much of a doubt, you were never really here. Follow the leader, marches to its own created time. Better keep up, could I keep up? Follow
recover. This is temporary. Keep on, just like you and me. Shame, shame, follow the leader. Marches to his own created time. We better keep up, we gotta keep up. Follow the leader. Silence implicates the innocent. He screamed, shame, shame. I'll recover. This is temporary. We gotta keep up, just like you and me. Shame, shame. I'll recover. This is temporary. We gotta keep up, just like you and me. Shame, shame.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, this is shrimp heart. I love that.
Shrimping. We're shrimping. Yes, thank you so much. That was
Thank you.
incredible. Thank you so much. That was so
Thank you.
lovely. And I truly appreciate that. And Ashley, Courtney, thank you so much for being on the show. It was such a joy, and thank you for your community, your ohana coming through and saying hi too. Thank you everyone for stopping through. We really appreciate y'all coming through and supporting. And when's the next time you stream, and how can people get a hold of you?
Tonight. You can check us out tonight. We'll be live at 8 p.m. Pacific. And we are live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday on Twitch at 8 p.m. Pacific. Again, we might be doing a 48-hour film festival. So we're just trying to, we have questions in and no one's responding to us as usual. So potentially then, but check out our films. We've got 50 of our 100 original films over on YouTube. We've got a Twitch streamer boot camp. We've got so many covers. And why wouldn't you want to see Courtney's brilliant performances? She is amazing and such a joy to watch. And check out our music if you dug that. Go check out our music on Spotify, Google Music, Amazon Music, all the musics. Thank you so much for having us. Ohana, thank you for being here. It means the world to see
We love you guys.
all of your names in chat. Double lovely to see you. You all are amazing. Thank you for supporting us and being here for all of these interviews and for just always being 100% behind us.
Yes, thank you everyone for coming. Remember, we're going to have a live music stream with a full band on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune in tonight for Courtney and Ashley. They're going to be live and doing it. Get your raid calls, everybody. We're going to go raid Kinsuku because she has a new song out called Enough, produced by Linkin Park's very own Mike Shinoda. So we're going to go give her some love and some support and congratulate her. So let's congratulate her and tell her how proud we are of her and how amazing she is as an artist and a human being. All right, guys, we'll see you on Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. Oops,
Bye.
I didn't do anything. All right. Well,
Bye.
okay. When you say goodbye, I know you have to go.